Well, the entertainment world lost a true icon today. Legendary actor, director, and activist. My goodness, you could add so many more titles to his LinkedIn profile. Robert Redford died at his beautiful home in Utah at the age of 89. CBS News' Jared Hill starts our coverage with a look back at a career that was nothing short of perfect.
With his golden boy looks, Robert Redford became one of Hollywood's biggest stars in the 60s and 70s, tackling the Western in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Watergate in the thriller All the President's Men, and romances including The Way We Were opposite Barbra Streisand.
There's always more with that game.
He received his only Oscar nomination for acting in 1973's The Sting, playing a Depression-era con artist alongside Paul Newman. He did win an Oscar, not for acting, but for his directing debut, 1980's Ordinary People.
Just stop it, Carl.
No, you tell her to stop it!
The drama about a family's struggle following their son's death also won Best Picture. He directed other notable films, including A River Runs Through It and Quiz Show. Most of Redford's projects dealt with topics close to his heart, including the environment.
Look at all the films and judge for yourself. I just had fun doing them.
Disillusioned with Hollywood, Redford moved to Utah, where he became a champion of independent film, establishing the Sundance Institute and Sundance Film Festival. It became a force in the industry, nurturing previously unknown filmmakers, including Quentin Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson.
Our job and our role is to create a space and a platform to bring new voices and new ways of seeing the world using independent film to this place. That's it.
In a statement, Redford's publicist said he died at his home at Sundance, the place he loved, surrounded by those he loved. Jared Hill, CBS News.
So let's continue the conversation. It is our honor to talk to Entertainment Tonight co-host Kevin Frazier. Kevin, nice to have you with us, my friend. Robert Redford, he brought that humble, everyday man sort of star power to every role, but he was also a towering figure behind the scenes. Talk to us from Entertainment Tonight offices there about his significance to the entertainment industry and really beyond.
Well, if you start with Robert Redford, the director, and you think about the great movies he directed, like A River Runs Through It or Ordinary People, and then you go back to the movies he starred in, he was a bona fide Hollywood titan. But then let's talk about the Sundance Institute and then the Sundance Film Festival. If you have ever been there, it's magical going around watching these independent movies. And you think of the people that he launched. I mean, as recently as I think of Ryan Coogler, who took Fruitvale Station to the Sundance Film Festival and what that meant. He changed the way that cinema was not only looked at, but the way the faces who got in front of the studios because of the Sundance Film Festival. There really wasn't anything like it beforehand. What he did changed movies forever.
Really changed movies and really shifted the conversation. To my great honor, I was chosen by Robert Redford to have one of my documentaries premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. And I want to ask you about something, because not only is the festival genius, not only are the films that premiere there genius and really drive Hollywood commerce, but what I love, and you've been to these, the lights go on in the theater and then the panel discussions happen. He really championed those discussions because voices previously unheard got to be interacted with by people from small communities in Utah and communities that travel from all over the world in those panel discussions. How vital were those post-screening discussions from your point of view?
Think about the way the movie industry was before. You know, you had to fit into the studio system. If you didn't fit into that studio system, then you were on the outside looking in. Robert Redford changed that and gave opportunity to folks. And then you would go and you'd see a movie and you'd hear from the filmmakers and they tell their story and they tell the logic or why they made this movie or documentary and what it really meant to them. And so that's what made Sundance so magical, because you heard from these people and you heard from people and voices that otherwise you would have never have heard from. But let's also not forget that Robert Redford was a man of amazing looks and he was stunning, but he never relied on those looks. And that's why you had movies like Jeremiah Johnson, you know, that he made, where, or All the President's Men, where he focused on the work and not what he looked like and who he was.
Yeah, for real. He was not vain. A lot of people would look at him and think he was. I remember the director's breakfast that I got to be there. He walked in with Bill Gates and he had his arm in a splint. Julianne Moore reached over to me and she said, "He's still good looking."
You know, think about this. Even when he was in Indecent Proposal, he was a man who aged so beautifully. And the first time I got a chance to meet Mr. Redford on a red carpet, I was just stunned at how beautiful he was. And then he came over and you're like, wow. There are so many other things that matter to him than just being a movie star. He was an activist. He was, you know, an environmentalist. And he also nurtured this thing called Sundance that changed Hollywood forever.
Changed Hollywood and really showed us all how we can have civil discourse in our world, conversations that come out of the art form of filmmaking. And if you haven't been to Sundance, Kevin can co-sign here with me. Ride one of the lifts and look out over the vistas there in that beautiful Provo Canyon. It is stunning. You can see why he devoted so much of his Sundance Film Festival programming to protecting the environment.
It will change your life when you go to Sundance. And I'm being honest, and I know that sounds like an overstatement, but really being at Sundance, the atmosphere, the vibe of the people who are so grateful to be there and so excited about cinema and film and the big stars that come also, it is a very different experience than anything else in the world.
Absolutely. When I shook his hand and said goodbye to him there in the tree room at Sundance Resort, he said to me, "Go get him, kid." And we say that to you, Kevin Frazier. Go get him, kid. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Appreciate it. Great talking to you.
Have a great one.